Hey, what's up, everybody? Well, today I'm going to be sitting down and I'm going to talk about my story. And the reason I want to talk about my story is because, as somebody who really almost failed as an entrepreneur, who had probably a failing business as well, and who made it happen, who made it to the other side, I've committed a lot of mistakes, and those mistakes are exactly not the ones which I want you to commit. And that's why today it's going to be the first. This first discussion is going to be about my story, and I'm hoping that you will actually get some ideas from it, and I'm hoping that you will be able to think about, like, yeah, this is something which is applicable to you. It's going to be really, really deeply applicable to those people who are in corporate world, because because in corporate world there is certain ways in which you we operate, we tend to operate. There's a mask that you all start wearing, and in the book, Playful, I actually talk about the corporate wheel that we all have in masks. So I'll not get into much of it, but I'll talk about my own mask, and I'll make myself vulnerable so that you're able to see that what is it that this guy has gone through and how applicable it is to for you. So look, like everybody else, life was all about study, build a career, get a job, and when you have achieved certain level, go try a bit more up, and keep living like that. So and I would just let me just take it to like 2017, earlier part of it, 22 years. So I was a busy corporate executive, and making decent amount of money and everything that typically a middle class person desires. I had everything, with my background of like living or growing up with those two dresses. It was a substantial thing. And and at that time, I wanted to be satisfied, I wanted to be happy, but I wasn't. And because I was really trying to break out of a job that was really, really boring as hell, but I felt extremely stuck, because I knew that all prospective employers would expect the same thing from me, and same thing that I didn't want to do any longer. I really wanted to, get something which stopped my dependence from the job, and I can have the typical, quintessential financial freedom, and I don't have to stay in the rat race. And I was just like completely feeling trapped in life. There was always this constant desire to do something meaningful, something exciting, something which is not mundane, something where I matter. And I could realize that the only reason a lot of people actually talk to me at my workplace, or otherwise, is because I was a director at Cognizant. That was the only thing. But I couldn't do anything because I had to support two mortgages, two growing up teenagers, and I had to also find meaning in my work. And there were some things which I liked. As somebody, one of my managers told me in past that, if you look at any job, then everybody has one bad day. But I had like four bad days, and it was just too much. But the thing that I was most worried about, the mortgage payment and paycheck to paycheck existence, and this market stamp of an IT guy, and that meant that I just was not able to find anything that is meaningful. I couldn't support my family, and I do not know how to support those mortgages, right? And to make things work, it was terrible because there was no end in sight. It was like my managers and other leaders who were up there, their life didn't inspire me. It just seemed like more of the same shit. And I felt completely empty and without substance. And even when my wife was supporting me fully, and my kids were doing well and everything, and it was all okay, but the weekend to weekend existence, it was just starting to become like literally life threatening. I felt depressed. That was basically 2012 is when it started. I felt depressed. I even went to a psychologist and saw her for, I think, three months period, or sometimes maybe 6 months, but 3 months period. She gave me some medicines which I took for a month, but after that I just stopped taking it because it just didn't make any sense, and it didn't make any difference to me. Uh, and the biggest thing that was eating me alive was that I had to completely stop relating to my work. And I know a lot of you probably, hopefully, are not in the situation, that you hopefully find your work with having some substance. But that's what I was like. At 45, it just kind of hit the rock bottom. And it seemed that my only purpose of my life and my job and everything was to actually manage the mortgage and manage the expenses and earn more so that it can feed more, and it's just keep going. It's a cycle. And typically, what people do when they make good money, they actually buy property, they buy investment properties, they buy this and they buy that, and they try to make money out of this, and they just doesn't feel anything. And being a director at this Fortune 200 company did not help. Getting High bonuses did not help. Getting my salary increases and getting promotions did not help at all. It just seemed like there's a chain which is holding me back from doing what I should be doing. But I just did not know what to do. I did not know what did I want to do. So from this entire cyclic nature of my work, without substance, uh, it it that feeling started emerging in terms of constant lack of self worth. Hating the money, hating the bonuses. Actually started disliking spending time with friends. I remember I used to zone out when I was with friends because it just seemed so trivial and meaningful. And I had this empty feeling and a sickness feeling in my stomach and depression coming in, and I actually felt that I would just completely crumble and literally die of the menial existence. And well, I totally understand that it's like a depression story. But the reason I want to tell you this is because I know that a lot of people feel like part of it they feel stuck in their life. And I think part of it you could relate that where I was way down, there was probably no way out of it. But I did find a way. So I did have a coach earlier back in 2012. And and there was a long story, but I was very negative and company got me a coach, and I kind of knew the power of coaching. So I just had another coach back in 2015, and that person really helped me to stay in my job. But then in 2017, I remember in March, I decided that enough is enough, and I'll go for this personal development seminar. So I went for this personal development seminar for 3 hours. It was a free seminar, like a lot of people. I was like, oh, let's get free one, and then I'll see. I was a dabbler, but in that seminar, I registered, and I remember 8th of March 2017. I couldn't sleep the whole night because my definition of my life was that I don't think big. I don't have big ideas, and I'm not somebody who's visionary. So I thought the biggest challenge I could take is my weight. I was like 86 kg, really unhappy with my job. So I thought that's what I could take. I couldn't sleep the whole night. I remember it was a Wednesday and Thursday, 9th, 8th of March, like 9th of March, I didn't go to office. And I just thought, you know what? Let me get rid of my number one enemy. Let's get rid of that 36 waist size. And everybody said it's going to be bad for you. My friend even mocked me and say, hey, you will fail. You love food too much. My mother-in-law, she was here in Australia at the same time. And she said, you can't lose food in a weight. You just love food too much. And after that, and all of those benters and all those things continued even after I started kept losing like 1 kg a week. And 16 week later, 16 kg, like cool. You know what? Um, I made it. And that weight loss was not about weight loss, but it was a mindset. It told me I could do this shit. And I remember standing in front of a mirror and used to sing the song, वो जो कहा था मैंने जो कर दिखाया ना. And I would like be like elated, but there was this sick feeling in my stomach because I knew that I was doing this personal development seminar, 3.5 days full, like immersion, and I was discovering myself. But I knew that I still did not have a direction. I did not know what I could do. And pretty soon, I still, I realized I need to have a one-on-one coach. So I went back to my previous coach and I started working with him. And I remember I came to these 2 points, and I mentioned about earlier about, in my previous stories about, the being a builder versus being a coach, because we kind of figured out that in my entire existence, like, in my corporate life and everything, if there was one thing which always stood out, it was contributing. If one thing that gave me most energy, it was that. And I had people who actually grew beyond me and above me within the same organization, and they still reached out to me for advice. When the organization, Microsoft, where I was actually fired after like 2.5 years of existence in that company, where I worked only for 1 year and carried through for another 1.5 years because I couldn't leave. So in that company, people still reached out to me. Like my manager who fired me eventually ended up becoming my customer in my coaching business. So there was a lot of stuff which was the manager becoming my client was in future, but there was a lot of stuff about me which was about that connection and love for people, and that authenticity and actual genuine desire to really matter, and knowing that no matter what happens, contribution is like biggest value. And it was like after that, it was like so easy to know this is what I'll do with my life. So I started the journey, and I was like one of those people and say, you know what, I just quit. And I remember calling Shilpa and I said, I'm going to quit today. And she said, yeah, go ahead and do that. And another 5 weeks later, I was scot free. I knew what I want to do. But then, as it happens, you kind of as it's like you have a big paradigm in life, and it's not easy to get rid of it unless you have somebody who's like really guiding you like that. And my coach could guide me to the decision, but I stayed with him thinking that he'll also guide me to the business. But it did not happen because my expectation was that, oh, he might actually give me business, or let me do an accreditation. So I followed that similar path, the blueprint that I had. I followed the similar path. Let's get the accreditation done. So I chose, like, because money was not a big concern. Like, I had bank balance, so there was no issue with that. But I said, okay, let's spend this $10,000 to get it accreditation. So I did that accreditation with this company. It's just like, it was like two days thing, 6 months, and they gave me a client, free client. So there was a hope that they'll give me another client. But pretty soon it kept on going, and I couldn't get clients. And I was thinking that if I throw that accreditation from this company, and I'm the senior executive in past senior executive in Cognizant, I'm going to get clients. Nothing happened. I obviously, I was not as stupid as that. I obviously was going out and talking to people, trying to meet people, but the blueprint was always same, that meet the set of people that So there was like, I could not get on my comfort factor, and my coach didn't help me. And even the organization where I was doing the accreditation, their methodology was very academic in nature, even if they had actually supposedly did it for like few, like, I think 500-600 people. um, and it was very depressive. In the first year I made like $17,600. There are other stupid things also I did where I made money in stocks and selling a property as well, and that just kind of kept my focus on multiple things. It's just stupid, the stuff that I did. And also, I did not have a market positioning. I didn't even know what a market positioning was. I was like, okay, let's do that. Let's do that. So I was just going all over the place really, and looking at doing this. And but then December came, and like October, November time frame, I started making like $10,000 a month, which was pretty good, because I was actually, no, I think it was 7K. It was 7K, because the goal was that the moment I make 7K, Shilpa will quit, because she started getting warmed up about this whole thing. My kids and the environment and family started changing. We started talking about personal development, contribution, growth, making a difference. Living for a purpose. The mission was starting to become clear, and all that was happening. And Shilpa was getting warmed up, and with all that effort, I started making some money. But then December came, and everything just went honky dory. We just came to like $4,000, which was nothing. But by that time, Shilpa's story is different. You hear it probably sometimes, that it was like she was going to get released in January, but we're like, no, we're sticking to it. We're just going to do it no matter what. We'll make it happen. And it's a long story beyond that point. I don't want to get into it. But thing is that we were really caught in January, February, March was some of our worst period. It was like self-doubt, don't know what to do, not able to grow. And I remember Shilpa did this program where which we had paid for earlier. And by the way, some other thing happened where our money got really badly, like it got caught up in properties that we had bought. We lost a lot of money because my tenant in my investment property did a damage, which I had to pay a huge amount of money for. All that happened, and we were really, really left out with very little amount of money. So, so we are in this place where Shilpa was actually doing this particular program, and she came and she said, Kapil, we should do this course. These 3 courses, we should register for it. It'll change our life. And I was like, no, we can't. Like, we don't have money. And she said, it's $15,000. Like, $15,000? Are you serious about it? No, we will not be able to do it. And then next day she came, this was an accreditation course, by the way, with another company, famous company in Australia. And it was like, next day she came, Kapil, we should do it. And I was like, are you sure about it? Like, we would be in deep, deep, deep trouble. And she was like, no, I'm sure about it. Let's do it. And so we did this entire calculation. We just came to this particular point where we were like, we will be left with $568 in our bank account in 2 months' time if we did this program. And like, yeah, let's not do that. Next day she comes and she says, Kapil, you'll be upset. I said, what happened? She said, I signed up for it. I was like, okay, I did not know that it was so important to you. And obviously I surprised her, because like, she's done it, means it must be important. But I can tell you that program changed our life. The idea of the book structure came from that program. What we should be doing in our coaching business came from the program. Our like ass kicking, 6 weeks program, that structure, everything came out of the program. We just kind of, everything changed for us. And in 3 months, like not even 3 months, I think the very next month we just blew up more than like 2.5 times the revenue, 3 times revenue. We just like blew up because we just got very hungry about it. And we had an approach, and we had, there was support after the program, and actually made such a big difference to us. And and we could see the dream happening. We could see, like, yes, we could do it. But we still had a big problem. We still had this entire mindset of that saving is the way to grow, and that was like, it was still eating us, and it was still that old blueprint that we were trying to live with. And then we started understanding a bit more about what we could do. And money was still in tight supply. We were still paying off debt that we had incurred in all of this time period, which unfortunately was a problem for us. And it was still creating that bit of a sense of insecurity and a sense of lack of self-worth. And you had to fight that mindset, and everything was a challenge. So we just decided that we had to do something, otherwise we'll just still be staying in the same thing. And we did the smartest thing that we could have, that we hired ourselves a coach, where in like 6 weeks period our game completely changed, and we just went shot up like more than double of what we are making. Again, it's just made such a huge difference to our life. And at the same time, back, it was 2019, like early 2019, we were getting all this advice from our friends and family. One of you should go back to a job. You don't understand, your daughter is in year 12 and it will make a big difference, and she will basically, it will spoil her career. You don't understand anything. Well, some of you probably know about the story that my elder one, my daughter, you know blew it out of the park. Like in her year 12, what she did was like exceptional, like, topped in the state in multiple part and all of it. So different story. But the idea is that all this was a lie. It was built on top of, the older way of doing things, an older way of thinking of ways to actually grow your career and grow your life and all of it. So so yeah so so it was like amazing period for us. And as the mid of 2019 approach, which is not, just about a year back, the numbers were looking good. And we just, because we had this amazing coach, and we just went from strength to strength to strength. And then and then, we just could see that we were able to make a massive difference. By that time, obviously, we had served customers, at that stage. And we launched our 6 week program, because I don't tell my clients to launch any 6 week program, because we know that it's harder to coach in a group than in one-on-one setting. So, but we did it, and we experimented with a very low figure, and it just worked out very well. And then we kept on going from strength to strength. And now, like, over 178 people have done this program. Like, I had the current group of people who are just going through it today. And it has like made a huge difference to people. Entire premises of it is something that we are very passionate about, which is about finding clarity of what you should do in your life, like knowing exactly what you do. Because a lot of people have this whole idea about, oh, I'm actually going to do this and I'm going to do that, and there's a market need. But instead of that, we actually spend 6 weeks with people, like 6 week period with people, where they're able to follow a certain method. We are able to get rid of a lot of noise in their life, a lot of self-doubt and self-worth and all of those things, and help them build what they could be doing in their life, where they'll be amazing. Like, I discovered that this is what I'll be great at. If I'd become a builder, probably it would have been, I would have probably made money, because there's money in that, but it would have been a menial existence. I can tell you that. It would have been same old shit, man. So, and I've seen too many people who do that. So it's like, help people get that, because we got the clarity, she got the clarity. Let's help people do that. And as more and more people we continue to talk to in one-on-one centric, one-on-one coaching, plus the group coaching, in this group coaching, we just kind of saw the power of this program, and this program became bigger and bigger and bigger. And it just became something which actually, like, has won awards and all of those kind of things, which typically you kind of take a look at with a lot of pride. And so in this program, like in 6 weeks, when people are able to get to that level where they have absolute certainty what they'll be good at, what they know, that this is what I'm going to make it happen. And that certainty, it just is a game changer. Because you could have somebody who's in the same environment what he has been in or she has been in. You could have somebody who's basically has certain similar behaviors that person has, and similar perspective, similar sort of proximity. But if you change the belief of this person, everything changes. Success becomes different. So here we're talking about changing the beliefs, changing the behavior, helping people build habits. helping people build proximity, helping people build certainty, and having a direction of what they could do in their life, where they'll be amazing. We help people with all of that. Imagine what is possible. And on top of it, we help people define the standards they're going to live by. And those standards make a huge difference. And these people are like unleashed in a way. And many of these people actually then started coming to us, I mean, late last year, that they would like to be coaches. And then said, okay, you know what? One of the things we know is that we actually struggled massively in the first year. And we know the journey has been bad for us. Let's do that. And so somewhere in February, March this year, we launched this program, where we help people. We started helping people build their coaching business. And this has been like an amazing journey, because making a difference to a corporate executive is one thing, but helping somebody build wealth is like a different feeling altogether. And the wealth doesn't come unless their mindset changes. So the feeling that you get is like, wow. Like me and my and Shilpa's win, we would just do it with this. But our clients win, we would celebrate with like, yes, and we'll go live with them, or we'll just basically record a video for them and just like, yes, this is so good. So this is what it means when you know that like contribution comes to the very core of your existence. Outside, it's a different feeling altogether. And I can tell you this, it feels like transformation. You see transformation all around you in other people's life. You talk to your clients and you feel, wow, this is so cool. This is so cool. And it's so implemented. Like, you know what I mean, right? You kind of feel that there's a little bit of me a part of that transformation. And, you kind of also get your need of significance satisfied as well. But it's just so cool to see somebody just getting to their power zone and actually build wealth. And that too in a 6-week short time, they're able to actually build their coaching business, and they're able to actually get clients, and they're able to actually build it to a certain level. It's a completely different feeling. I can tell you, it's like, it's different. And that's what I love about coaching. And those of you who are looking at being coaches, those of you who are coaches, you know what I mean. And in this process, when you know that 94% coaches fail to make a living out of it. And I know some of the people here have had those challenges. Like for years, they've been part of these programs which say, in 1 year, you will reach 1 crore, and some nonsensical shit, right? You've been part of those kind of things. And you know that the learning and implementation is not a sequential process. It has to go together. So what I focus on is that learn and implement. So learning is just 10%. Implementation is the real deal. Going out there and putting yourself out there honestly and authentically, making your own set of mistakes that you can, that people will then give you feedback on, so you improve. It's a different deal altogether. So I'm super pumped up and super excited. And I'm actually not glad that I'm sitting, but I have to lift the whole thing. So I just keep sitting here and just try to just convey my thought. It's like, it's a different deal altogether. So obviously the reason why I told you about the story, and the reason I told you about the Euphoria 6-week program in terms of clarity, is because you can tap into it if you want to. If you want to tap into something where you say, I don't know what I want, but I know for sure that if I know what I want, and I have all of those things about my belief changing, my getting more certainty in life, my behavior changing, my habits changing, and you're getting rid of the shit that I have, my blueprint changing, and having high standards, then that's right for you. Or if you're somebody who says, you know what, I've had enough of these kind of things, these sleazy thing or the 94% statistical thing, I want to be like the top 1% crazy, then you can look at Changemaker program where in 6 weeks, we can help you build your business, actually set up and build. But it's not a marketing pitch, obviously. I got into the pitch, but one of the things Dean Graziosi said, hey, love what you do so much that if people don't give you the credit card details at the end of it, then you've done them disservice. Now, I don't want your credit card detail. I don't want to even sell you, because I'm like, I want to be very selective with whom I work with. And I know that crazy people or, hungry people will find their way up to me. And if they don't, they don't. It's all right, right? I will not be able to serve everybody. And I know that entrepreneurial journey is not for everybody. Being a coach, being a kick-ass coach is not for everybody. It's for people who know their heart. It's for people who are really hungry, and the constrained life does not exist for them. They'll go on. No matter what happens, no matter what matters, they'll go on. And those are the kind of people it's just fun to work with. But again, just to summarize, look at this story. My story is that the pain that I went through, nobody else has to go through that. The pain that I went through, There's a way in which can be transformed. But you gotta start somewhere. You can't stay in your, the resource constraints you have. You can't stay in this thing like, oh, today I won't work because I've got my, pain in my pinky finger, or my body is paining, or my child is sick, or I've got nobody at home. I have to clean up. You can't. Being an entrepreneur is that once you've done all of that, I'm not saying that don't take care of family and all. But I'm saying once you've done all of that, it's your time. Once you've put in like 10 hours, 12 hours, 14 hours, it's your time. Like one of the person who has been part of this program, in like second week itself, he made like $16,000. This guy, 14 hours of work he's been putting in every day in his job. Plus, he puts in 4 to 5 hours in his business because he's crazy. He's hungry. So when you want to do something like that, you gotta be hungry. You gotta be crazy. Everything else has to take a side role. And it's like, I can't stress more on it, right? If you want a seesaw, if you want a balance in life, you're not going to do it. And obviously, I'm not saying that this balance is so much that your partner leaves you or your kid becomes this thing with you. I'm not saying that. I'm saying take care of that, but take care of this more. Have a bit of a disbalance. Like when I signed up for a big mastermind program recently, I told my family I'm going to find 3 more hours every day for 7 days a week. And yes, in December we are going to go camping and everything, but I'm going to work and find my 3 hours. I'm going to still serve my customers. But I would not give up because I love this. I need holidays, but I don't want them because this is my holiday. Sitting here talking to you, contributing to you, this is my holiday. I love it. It just energizes the heck out of me because I know I'm making a difference. Well, with that, I just want to tell you that I know that one thing, probably what you want in your life is absolute certainty of who you are and what you stand for. And I can tell you how the certainty comes out. I know that if I lose everything today, whatever happens, right? I buy a business and it just goes bonkers or whatever happens, I know in 30 days flat, I would make $30,000. I have the certainty. And the certainty is not just, I am confident shit. The certainty is because I know I've done it. I know I have processed. I know my mind is there. I know that I'm going out there. I'm not stopping till I get it. So here's the thing. If this story inspires you, if it makes you think that you want to be able to create, that you want to get the certainty, you need to get in touch with me now. You need to book a call with me. And I would leave it to you to reach out to me and say, Kapil, I'm inspired. I want to have a call with you to see how I can get that.